The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Admiral Vexithara's 4 eyes focused on the lone figure standing before them. Commander Sarah Chen, her standard-issue armor scorched and torn, stood at attention despite the exhaustion etched into every line of her face. Behind her, the massive view screen displayed the hellish landscape of Kepler 442c, a Class 13 Deathworld where an entire Terran expeditionary force had vanished 3 months ago. Commander Chen, Admiral Vexithara's translator crackled, "You are the sole survivor of a 10,000-strong army. Explain." Sarah's jaw tightened. She had known this moment would come, had rehearsed it during the long journey back to Arcturus Station, but standing here, facing the assembled representatives of 17 different species, the weight of those lost lives pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. "With respect, Admiral," Sarah began, her voice steady despite everything, "I didn't survive because I was lucky. I survived because the others made sure I would." A ripple of confusion passed through the assembled aliens. The Zephyrian delegate's tentacles twitched nervously, while the crystalline Vorthan representative pulsed with a confused orange light. "Elaborate," Vexthara commanded. Sarah activated her wrist display and the chamber filled with holographic images from her helmet recorder. The first showed the initial landing, dropships descending through Kepler 442c's toxic atmosphere, their heat shields glowing white-hot as they cut through clouds of corrosive vapor. "The planet was supposed to be uninhabited," Sarah continued. "Our scouts reported vast mineral deposits, rare earth elements crucial for faster-than-light drives. What they didn't report was the indigenous life." The hologram shifted, showing the first contact. Massive insectoid creatures emerged from underground hives, their chitinous armor reflecting the planet's blood-red sun. They moved with terrifying coordination, their acid-spitting maws already claiming the lives of advanced scouts. "The hive mind," whispered Counselor Zilth, his reptilian features pale. "We've encountered them before. They consumed 3 entire colonies in the Outer Rim." "These weren't just any hive mind," Sarah said grimly. "They had evolved, adapted, they had been studying us." The hologram showed the battle's progression. What began as a standard planetary assault quickly devolved into a nightmare. The creatures seemed to anticipate every human tactic, countering plasma rifles with energy-absorbing carapaces, neutralizing orbital bombardments with underground tunnels that stretched for kilometers. "By day 3, we had lost 60% of our forces," Sarah reported. "By day 7, we were down to 3,000. That's when Colonel Martinez made the call." "What call?" Admiral Vexthara leaned forward, her predatory instincts engaged. "Operation Last Stand," Sarah said simply. The colonel realized something the rest of us hadn't. These creatures weren't just fighting us, they were learning from us. Every tactic we used, every strategy we employed, they absorbed and turned against us. But there was one thing they couldn't replicate. She paused, and in that silence the chamber seemed to hold its breath. Our capacity for sacrifice. The hologram changed again, showing the final days. Human soldiers outnumbered 1,000 to 1, forming defensive circles not to win but to ensure others could escape. Engineers rigging explosives not to destroy the enemy, but to seal tunnels and buy time. Medics staying with the wounded instead of fleeing to safety. They couldn't understand it, Sarah continued, her voice thick with emotion. The hive mind operates on pure survival instinct. Every decision is calculated for maximum efficiency, minimum loss. They couldn't comprehend why a human would throw themselves on a grenade to save their squad, or why someone would stay behind to hold a line they knew they couldn't hold. The images showed Lieutenant Torres, barely 21, standing alone against a tide of creatures while his squad escaped through a mining shaft. They showed Sergeant Williams, her ammunition exhausted, using her body as a shield to protect a wounded comrade. They showed Captain Rodriguez detonating the armory not to kill enemies, but to collapse a cavern system and give the others more time. Each sacrifice bought us something the hive mind couldn't calculate, Sarah said. It bought us hope, purpose, the will to keep fighting not for victory but for each other. Admiral Vexithara's translator remained silent for a long moment. When it finally crackled to life, her voice was different, softer somehow. "And you, Commander? How did you escape?" Sarah's composure finally cracked just slightly. "I didn't escape, Admiral. I was chosen. In the final hours, when we were down to less than 50 soldiers, they voted. Every remaining human voted to give their life so that one person could make it back to warn the galaxy. They chose me not because I was the strongest or the smartest or the most capable. They chose me because I was the youngest, because I had the most life left to live. The chamber was absolutely silent now. Even the usually chattering Pixarian delegation sat motionless. The last transmission came from Colonel Martinez himself, Sarah continued. He and the remaining 37 soldiers had barricaded themselves in the command bunker. The hive mind had surrounded them completely. His final words were, "Tell them we weren't defeated. Tell them we chose this. Tell them that humanity doesn't surrender. We just make sure someone lives to remember." The hologram flickered and died. Sarah stood in the silence, tears streaming down her face, but her posture still military straight. Finally, Admiral Vexithara spoke. "The planet?" "Quarantined," Sarah replied. "The hive mind learned something from us too, Admiral. They learned that some victories cost more than defeats. The last sensor reading showed them sealing their tunnels, going dormant. They're afraid now, afraid of what they saw in us." Counselor Zilth leaned forward, his voice filled with something approaching awe. "Commander, in your assessment, what makes humans so unique in their willingness to sacrifice?" Sarah thought for a long moment before answering. "We die, sir. We know we're going to die from the moment we're born. Every other species in this galaxy has found ways to extend life, to cheat death to live for centuries or millennia. But humans? We get maybe 80 years if we're lucky, so we don't waste time calculating survival probabilities. We don't hesitate when someone we love needs us. We know our time is limited, so we make it count." She straightened, her voice growing stronger. "Those 9,999 soldiers didn't die because they failed, Admiral. They died because they succeeded. They succeeded in being human. And that's something no hive mind, no matter how evolved, will ever understand." The session was adjourned without another word. As Sarah left the chamber, she carried with her not just the memory of the fallen, but the knowledge that their sacrifice had done something unprecedented in galactic history. It had made an enemy afraid. And in the vast, cold universe, sometimes being feared was just another word for being respected.